Canberra, our nation's great capital. It's been called many things since being founded back in 1913. The Bush Capital, the Garden City, the City of Circles, and more recently, the Secret City.
For years we've heard rumours of secret bunkers and hidden tunnels running beneath our national institutions. Unfortunately, apart from a couple of pedestrian walkways and a few cramped service tunnels, most of these subterranean byways are purely urban legend. But there is one Canberra institution that does house a secret bunker beneath its floorboards. Its purpose wasn't for hush-hush political deals, nor for secret spy business. No, it was all about escaping watchful eyes.
Today, I'm visiting the Royal Military College in Canberra, or as most people call it, Duntroon. Originally a sheep station, Duntroon has been the home of the Royal Military College since 1911. The site was chosen to be Duntroon for the shelter provided by nearby Mount Pleasant, as well as the fact it was outside the reach of the growth of the city, so cadets would be spared the temptations that a city would bring. Walking around Duntroon today, and you can't help but feel the rich sense of history and tradition. Since its inception, graduates from the Royal Military College have served under the Australian flag in every major conflict. And while the particulars of the training that has gone on here over the last century has changed a little bit, the focus on producing credible and capable officers for the Australian Army has remained paramount. Being one of Australia's oldest national institutions, the grounds of Duntroon also house a number of historically significant buildings. Perhaps the most notable is Duntroon House, which was built by the Campbell family way back in 1833 and is still being used today as an officers' mess hall. Given its long history, it's no surprise that a number of Duntroon's features have become entrenched in folklore, such as the haunted rooms of Duntroon House and the infamous 7 Wonders of Duntroon, oddities that include the bell that never tolls, the mast without a ship, and the steps that lead nowhere. Not to mention a few other secret spots we don't have the authority to disclose.
But perhaps the most notorious of Duntroon's 7 Wonders is also the hardest to find. That's because it's hidden here beneath Cork Block, one of the college's residences. It is so secret that during its construction, even the top brass here at Duntroon had no idea it existed. This is room 92 of Cork Block, home to one of Duntroon's best kept secrets, the Cork Block Cavern, also known as the room within a room. This hidden hideaway was excavated back in 1958 by a group of industrious college cadets, and it's still here today. Of course, it's now off limits to the public, but luckily for us today, we've been given special permission for a little look around. We did reach out to some former cadets to see if they wanted to revisit their beloved cavern, but they declined, and probably for good reason, because it's not exactly as it used to be down here. In fact, it's a little bit creepy. So what did inspire a group of 19-year-old cadets to hack out this cavern beneath their bunk? Was it to hide alcohol? Was it to create a secret rendezvous spot to meet a girlfriend, both of which were forbidden on campus? No, nothing quite so scandalous. The reason they built this was so that they could hide these.
You see, back in the 50s, much like today, cadets had dedicated spaces to store their gear. Each of these spaces was numbered 1 to 12, and everything needed to be neatly displayed for inspection. Of course, this meant everything had to be meticulously folded and in perfect, pristine condition at all times.
So when the cadets found themselves with a pair of muddy boots or other non-standard issue junk on their hands, they needed to get creative. They needed to create a secret number 13. And that's exactly what the young men did in this room.
One Saturday afternoon in April 1958, while shirking his compulsory sports session, a young Ross Thomas heard a thumping sound coming from the room of his mate Warwick.
I went to investigate and found Warwick nailing a false back to his wardrobe, creating a number 13. And I thought, I need one of those.
Ross then came back to his room and started to create his own secret hideaway, right here under his bed.
I must have been making a bit of noise, because soon enough, Warwick came over to check it out. Over the coming weeks, one thing led to another, and after showing our inner circle of mates, we all agreed it would be a bit of a challenge to make it a bit bigger and to create a bit of a retreat.
And so began the great excavation of Cork Block Cavern. Between May and August 1958, Ross and his mates spent every spare moment, usually during a study period, on Sunday afternoons or after lights out, furiously digging away. They would take turns filling kit bags with dirt before hauling them up through the trapdoor, through Ross's room, out the window, across the veranda,
before finally emptying them out under this then young gum tree. Legend has it that on one particularly industrious Sunday afternoon, over 40 kit bags worth of dirt was hauled here. Must have been good soil. Apart from being hard work, the excavation was risky business for the young cadets. Discovery of their extracurricular activities would have led to severe disciplinary action, including possibly being turfed out of the college altogether.
After a few months of diligent digging, the cadets had removed 2 brick pillars and carved out a space roughly 3 metres by 3 metres. Once the excavation was complete, it was time to decorate.
We tried to make it as homely as possible. Warwick installed a switchboard so we could have electricity. We borrowed some curtains from the officers' mess at Fairbarn and some concrete from a nearby magazine artillery for the floor.
Further refinements included a stove for hot food and a cabinet for borrowed crockery and cutlery. Everything a group of young cadets would need to enjoy a little bit of time away from the piercing gaze of their superiors.
It was cozy. We could fit about 15 people down there.
The cadets had even installed a hidden switch under the desk in the room above. So if the company commander suddenly decided to pop in, the lights could be turned off and everyone below knew to keep quiet.
Despite the extraordinary effort to construct and deck out the mother of all number 13s, Ross and his mates only got to use Cork Block Cavern a handful of times.
In September 1958, only a month after the bunker was complete, Ross fell ill and had a lengthy stay in hospital. It wasn't until after the Christmas break when he could return to the bunker, but by then, all the cadets were reassigned to different companies in different blocks on the campus.
Ironically, it was the bunker's disuse that led to it being discovered in early 1959.
You see, one Sunday afternoon, Ross went back to Cork Block to retrieve something he'd left in the cavern. That same day, in what proved to be a rather unfortunate coincidence, another cadet had some money stolen from his room. The police were called and Ross was questioned. Naturally, the authorities wanted to know why the young cadet was hanging around a residence block he was no longer assigned to.
You're in big trouble, young man. You know why you're here?
I don't know, sir. Something to do with a secret bunker?
A secret bunker. You expect me to believe that, cadet?
Yes, sir.
So the jig was up. With the cavern's cover blown, its days as a number 13 were done. The garrison engineer ordered the electrics taken out, the furnishings were removed, the missing pillars were replaced, and Cork Block Cavern was shut down forever. Strangely, the commanding officers never officially acknowledged the discovery of the secret bunker. Even more perplexing was the fact that Ross and his accomplices were never punished for their unauthorised excavation. No one really knows why.
Maybe the commanders were secretly impressed with the cadets' gumption. Maybe they were too embarrassed to acknowledge that such a covert operation had been carried out under their noses. Or maybe Simply, there just wasn't anything in the standing orders that dealt with construction of a hidden room. Either way, Ross and his mates got off scot-free. Thankfully, Cork Block Cavern wasn't filled in, and although it's not accessible to the public, nor to cadets, it's nice to know that it still stands as a monument of ingenuity, teamwork, and daring, the very attributes the Royal Military College would like every cadet to embrace. I'm Tim The Yowie Man, and as always, thanks for watching.